Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. Happy Friday, everybody. This is Mike. Today I want to talk to you about the Autobot Carbot reboot of 2024. And with all of these new figures coming out, well, there's two mostly, I think it's really time to kind of put it all together in a video and just talk about this. And although I've talked about pretty much everything in this video before, but putting it all in one video is going to be a little bit fun, but gives you a perspective of where we were, where we have come from, and then where we are now, where we're going, and what still has not been updated, improved, or given another option, which I don't really feel like we need to replace everything that's been made before. But let's just talk about this. The Autobot car reboot of 2024 coming up. So we're going to start at the beginning of the Carbots, and we're starting with Sideswipe. There as was an MP12. Now this one here got a whole bunch of color iterations, and I think I have almost all of them. I got a gold one, I got a black one, I've got yellow tiger tracks. And funny story about that is that I didn't really open all of them back in the day. I kind of kept a lot of them in the box, and when I put my first display together, I decided that there were too many red figures, so I opened my tiger tracks. And then once I put a proper display together, then I actually needed the correct red one in its place and all that kind of stuff. So Tiger Tracks was part of my video reviews for just a short period of time. But anyway, this figure, I always thought that it looked okay, but we could do way better. And with that, we did get what Bad Cube gave us. So Bad Cube gave us their version. Now this is the Steamroll and Recon, and I don't have their Steamroll, and I didn't pick it up because I just felt like something was off about it. Now, a lot of people love it. It's great. But I was intrigued by the mold, so I did pick up the Red Alert, and I got it pretty cheap. I think I paid like $40 for mine. I got it used. And with that, I like it. I think it's a pretty good figure. And I kind of am just taking everything from that figure and saying, okay, that this is pretty much similar for their Sideswipe. And I still kind of think that the Red Alert looks better and more like Red Alert than their Sideswipe looking like Sideswipe. That's just my opinion. That's my belief. And I think a lot of that has to do with how they did the arms, and they did a really good job with that, and of course made it a proper Red Alert. Now, with it though, could we use a better Sideswipe? Heck yes. I mean, I would be in on X-Transbots or Fans Toys or Transform Element or any of these other companies to Star Toys to put out a better Sideswipe. I'd upgrade. And I really don't think that the giant chest Takara one's the best, and I still don't think that this one here from Bad Cube is the best one either. Next I want to talk about is Jazz, and here's the weird part about Jazz. The fact that Takara hasn't touched it yet. Everyone says it's a licensing situation, a licensing issue. I've heard a lot of people say, well, then how come they can do the Bumblebee and the VW? I don't know about licensing so much. But I do know that I still kind of feel like Fans Toys won this. It would be really interesting to see if Takara could do something, anything better than what Fans Toys has already accomplished. And I like both of their molds. But we're sitting here looking at all of these, and as an owner of all three of these, this is a screenshot that I just grabbed out of one of my videos, that I like them all. I mean, I would be okay if literally any of these was my only Jazz. I would not be too upset about it. But I have to admit that it's on the left is Toy World, on the right is the Make Toys, the Make Toys, and then in the middle is the Fans Toys. And I like them in that order. Fans Toys the best, then Make Toys, then Coolsville from Toy World. Zeta also is the same mold. But with that, no Takara even hinted, or that kind of sucks. It kind of sucks that the main company is leaving this one out. Sunstreaker, this is a picture from Chosen Prime, and I think it was someone who reviewed for Chosen Prime, but it's one of those that helped me make a decision on what I wanted very easily. I wanted the Takara, and I actually picked each one of these up on clearance. I got them pretty cheap. I think Omnigonic Spin It out on the left I picked up for $45. It's still in the box, never opened it. Same thing with the Bad Cube. I got it for like $70, which now sounds like a lot of money for the Bad Cube. But the Takara one wins flat out. Now, the thing I want to say about this is, as great as the Takara one looks, and as much as you can do with alternating it around to make it look like a standard car, or making it actually look like the toy with the way they do that rear engine kind of air induction kind of thing. I still think it's very complicated. It's quite a complicated transformation. This is when Takara was still being extremely complicated. I think if Takara were to design it today and make it today, it would be less complicated. That's just my belief. But should another company make it? Should an X-Transbot or should another company go at this? And I'd say yes, but it seems like we're dead in the water for Sunstreakers. It feels like the Megatron effect. It's like when MP36 came out, all the other third parties just gave up and quit making Masterpiece Megatrons. Same thing with this guy, but I would say one day we'll see a Fans Toys. Maybe one day we'll see an X-Transbots, but also I would rather see X-Transbots continue delivering us those Omnibots and all these other figures that nobody else is going to make. But yeah, I could see Fans Toys doing this one day, and I could see Fans Toys beating it. I could see it being cleaner, but then it kind of scares me about their transformation. So now we're going to get into Prowl, and I think that Prowl is a pretty decent figure, but there's that big gap in the back of the lower legs bothers people. It doesn't really bother me so much because I actually don't take it off the shelf and do much with it. This is where Takara got real lightweight with these Carbots. There's not a lot of, well, there's not any die-cast. Somebody joked, I think Dust Mites, that the only die-cast in it is in the screws and the pins, but that's probably steel. This is really cool because we're getting another option for Prowl, and yes, the split chest doesn't work if there's a giant gap in it. You know, if it comes together tight and you don't really notice the seam very much, especially with the paint and the way the paint works, and then of course you put a sticker over part of it for the Autobot symbol, then you could almost completely eradicate that seam. But there's a lot to this that bother people on the DX9 version, and I'm also hearing that it's broken. They're taking pictures of a broken prototype that is not properly assembled or properly transformed because it doesn't have all the parts there because it's broken. Now, I don't know about all that, and I'm sure once we see it painted, it'll be better. But backing it up, the positives are we see the lower legs, I think, is a massive improvement from what we got from Takara, and that always did kind of, my eye goes to it as the negative. The mid-waist part of Takara was okay, but it's actually way cleaner on the DX9 version. The arms look a little bit more interesting and a little cleaner on the DX9 version. But this is one of those figures where that chest has to look right, or the character is just a fail. And with that, if they can't fix it, if DX9 can't make that chest work out, it's not going to win. It's not going to be a win. And I'm also curious the weight distribution, like how heavy, how hefty, how solid of a figure is this going to be. It could be a really solid figure, but with it right now, it's a big question mark, and there's a lot of people saying that it looks terrible, and a lot of people that are welcoming a change, a refreshing change, but I still haven't made my mind up yet because I'm waiting to see more about this figure. Now we're going to get into tracks, and I gotta say also that I was not one of the people that was ridiculously upset about tracks, because first of all, I did not buy the original Takara, because at the time I was super ultra cheap, and I was proud of myself back then for being ultra cheap. My first experience with this was the KO, and for like $40 I was happy with it. Plus it had rubber tires, which is a big change the KO made. And I don't really feel like the gappiness was as big of a deal as everybody made it out to be. But I do have to say it doesn't feel like everything clips together properly. Like it still feels like it's kind of like question mark unfinished when it's transformed with the way the backpack works. And with that is a negative for it. But it looks phenomenal on the shelf with the paint and the color. It pops and just the way it looks. But yeah, I do understand the people that are upset about it, are disappointed in it, and don't like it, and want to see a new one. Now, we got the Transform Element one over here. No, Star Toys over here. Why do I keep wanting to call Star Toys Transform Element? Because everybody feels like they are the same people. Now, the thing about it is it does look like it's way more solid all around, and they've done a few other things, and I think they've even tightened up the alt mode with a panel that covers the entire bottom of the alt mode, which kind of goes just on the back of this, but it's a good looking figure overall, and it may be a massive improvement from what Takara did. And with that, I welcome it, and I'm going to check it out. I'm going to take a look at it, and if it's my new one, it's my new one. If not, then it's no big deal. But it still looks great. And my big hang up too is that I'm not big on this character. And I can see a lot of people saying, yeah, I didn't really care for the Takara. Maybe they're like me and got the KO and it's a little bit better than the Takara. And then they're like, but I don't care about the character enough to spend another $100 or something to get a new one. And I think that's where most people are going to fall. Most people are going to fall in that category that, yeah, I agree. It's a better figure. It looks better. It's a cooler looking figure. But I just don't care enough to spend the $100. So that's going to be another hurdle for the Star Toys to try to overcome with this figure and this character itself. But guess what? People are going to buy it, especially those who missed out on Takara, since Takara hasn't put this out in a long time. So one of the other things is the fact that there's other color variations of these vehicles that are out there, the Carbots, Autobot Carbots that are out there. And will these other companies, DX9 and the Star Toys and all them, make all those different color options? So in my mind, if you bought these other offshoot color options along the way, that there's really no reason to get rid of those. You keep those in your displays and your collections, and then maybe you do upgrade with one of the new Star Toy one, or you upgrade with the DX9 for the main figure, and then you put the old one in the alt mode. And those are some things that I'm doing, and a lot of collectors do when they get a new option or a new figure for the same character. But will we see these repaints and all these different recolors? I don't know. I mean, we see it with like Magic Square and their one Masterpiece Optimus Prime that they're making. Well, it's now two, but it's still one character that they make. So we see that. But Takara is one that always has done all these different color offshoots and those things. And then, of course, the KO companies even fill in the gap a little bit more. But it's quite interesting to see if they do all of these. Lastly, we've got the odd man out, and that's Wheeljack. The reason, because no other Masterpiece company, third party, has made another Wheeljack. Is that because this Wheeljack is so amazing and so awesome and looks so fantastic that, no, that's not. I mean, it's a good figure. It's a solid figure. And with that, I'm not in a huge hurry to swap it out and upgrade, especially since I did get the Plus. But they haven't reissued a long time, so the only way to really get your hands on one is to buy a KO. And the only way to buy a KO right now is to roll your dice on a random eBay seller from China that might be a ghost account. And so those are issues themselves. I don't really know if other places. I've checked some KOs here and there, but that's the interesting part about this one, is that you can't really get it from another option or another company. Will another company make it? Will we see the Fans Toys or X Transbots or heck, MMC or any of them make one of these, or a Star Toy or a DX9? I don't know. But it's still kind of curious, like, why has no one made an attempt or at least tried to make this? And the reason it just kind of, in my mind, it's put to the back of my mind is because we've gotten all these Legends ones. And we've got the Legends one most recently from New Age, but we also got, I think it was Toy World that made theirs. Was it Whiskey Jack? And so I've had new ones, and we've seen some in the main line. But in Masterpiece, it's been over a decade since we've gotten a new Wheeljack. And do we need one? That's the big question. Do you guys think we need one? Is this one good enough? But it's odd man out because no one else is attempting it. So I think that's all the ones I'm going to talk about. I mean, people are going to say, well, Mike, why don't you talk about like Beachcomber, because he falls into mini bot category. Mike, why don't you talk about Hound, because this is not Autobot Jeep bots. And Mike, why don't you talk about Hot Rod, because this isn't 86 movie bots. This is the Autobot Carbots video. But if there's another Autobot Carbot that you think we should be talking about in here, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you think about all of these that we discussed, and like and subscribe. And Tidarium Hanger out.